Okay, in this video, I want to show you something called Toolbox that allows you to talk to external tools in Msty Studio. Before I start showing this feature, I highly recommend you guys watch the previous video, which is about the sidecar, because this feature, you cannot use this feature without sidecar. Sidecar is what sort of powers this feature. So talking about Toolbox or tools or tool sets, you will see these different terms in a second here. So this basically what this does is it allows you to communicate with some tools that are installed on your machine. And these tools can talk back to your data source, can do things, you know, these are amazing. They can write files, they can talk to your GitHub repo, file system. There's so many things. They can do search. They can basically do so many things, right? Now, those of you who already know what I'm talking about, yes, it is MCP tools. Those of you who don't know this one, so Claude or Anthropic recently, a few months ago, recently announced this protocol that allows any chat application to sort of get the context somehow. The context could mean data, context could mean, you know, the list of files on your system, and also take some actions and pass that to the large language models. So that's what these tools are. Yes, there are other applications that do these things, but I think that we have some unique ways of doing things, and how managing and all this is pretty straightforward. If you have used Claude's official desktop application, then you know that you can add configuration, go manually and add configuration and things like that. You'll also see that how we make it really easy. You also don't have to download and use desktop application. Of course, this is only available on Msty Studio browser application, and as long as you have a sidecar running somewhere, it can connect to it. It's amazing. This is one of my favorite features in Msty Studio, because you know, I can have that tool running on a remote server, have bunch of tools installed on it, have all authentication and things like that figure out, and it can talk to it, you know, take advantage of these thousands of tools. You can write your own. It's pretty easy, and you can manage, and it's just great. And then once we have like users feature in future, which we are working on, and you know, you can do something like create a list of tools, which we already have, but then you can assign these tools to some users, and these users can access those tools and all that amazing thing. The way I'm thinking, well, I was thinking a couple of days ago when I was thinking of this feature is like, you know, how I can have my kid access to a bunch of tools, but I can have control over it, right? So with these users features, and that's not something that I'm going to show you, demo you today. I'm talking about what kind of things you could do. So once you have these tools and these teams, what you can do is like basically create a user, you know, or team that can only have access to these certain tools, maybe internet, maybe certain models, and you can have your son or your spouse or, you know, whoever, your friend, your parents connect to it. They don't have to download anything. They can just connect to this sidecar, to this instance, and then they can do these amazing things. They can, you know, they can chat, they can use these tools, all that thing. And this is where the power of Msty Studio lies, not just the sidecar, but power of Msty Studio, because that means your parents, for an example, they don't need to have desktop machine, a desktop computer. They can just have their phone. You have already set up. Maybe you invite them, say, hey, dad, you know, just join my team, have it. You just let him, like, you know, use few things that's already hosted on remote machine, you know, use some models on remote machine, and he doesn't need to have anything. And you can give him his own workspace, all those things. Now, that's not what we have right now, but that's what we're working on right now. That's a work in progress. But tools allows you to just just connect to this data and provide context to LLMs. And I'm going to do a couple of demos here. It's going to be amazing. Unfortunately, tools don't work that well with local models. They can do it, but the streaming, while they're using tools, the streaming is not fully supported, and it's not because of Msty Studio or Sidebar or anything like that. It's the Ollama's limitation. It just cannot do it that well. But if you can use some online models, as you will see, I'll be using online models. Amazing things. I'm so excited about this feature. Okay. So first of all, when you make sure that you have Msty sidecar running here, it won't work without this. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy local endpoint here. If you don't have it already running, we'll put that in there. Go and then copy token. We'll put that in here as well. You must remember to save connection info here. Otherwise, later on when it's using tools, it can't connect to Sidebar. So save and connect. Let's see if it can connect. There you go. It's connected. You can see here bold icon here. That's amazing. Okay. So to enable tools, what you can do is you can go to this toolbox, right? And then straight up, you will see this. I'm so excited to show you this. Okay. So, because you can use all these tools from browser, it's very exciting. So what you can do now here is you can start adding new tools here, your own tool. And you can go to like the Model Context Protocol servers, official GitHub page here. They have hundreds of official and non-official servers. That's what they're called. Or there is also these awesome MCP servers that they have even more here. And, every day it's like more. They added a few last week, and there are plenty of others. And some, they added 3 days ago, and every day they're adding more tools, and you can write your own tools as well. Now, keep in mind that most of these tools need few dev dependencies, right? Node.js, Python, very important. Most of these tools require you to have Node.js and or Python. There are some that also use Docker. So once you have Node.js, Python, or Docker on your machine, then you can go ahead and start adding these tools. You can manually add these tools, and I'll show you how to add manually these tools, register, or we also come with some tools built in, sort of out of the box, and you can add that easily. So if you go here, and this is what you see, import default tools. Now, before I click on this one, I want to talk about this. These tools are not provided by Msty. We have not tested all of them. Doesn't make sense. There are hundreds of them. And these are also not maintained by us. We do not maintain any tools. If we do, then we will let you know that, hey, this is the official tools. But we do not plan to add any tools. This is just, we are just providing a platform so that you don't have to worry about adding tools. You got to use at your own risk, because these tools do run on the machine. So when you add a tool, make sure that, you are not adding any tools that you are not supposed to be adding. Any issues arising from these tools, we are not responsible for it. And also for support, for those tools, if you run into like, hey, how do I add this tool? Of course, maybe we can help. But if it is like, hey, how do I set up this tool? What does this mean? What is this environment variable means? What does this argument means? Then sorry, we cannot help with that one. Like I said, we don't even know most of these tools, right? And they're popping up every day, every hour maybe. So many tools coming out. Like, every time I check, they're like, oh, we've got 10 new tools in here. And not just like some users are making tools. There are some official legit tools as well. Like if you go here, you can check out all the official ones here. These are the community servers, but these are the official integration. As you can see, big names here. Cloudflare is here, XI is here, Firecrawl is here, Grafana is here, IBM is here, JetBrains is here, Kagi is here, Neo4j, Quadrant, Raygun, Stripe is here. Yeah, so it's a legit thing. It's very exciting. Okay. So that's that. And then what you can do here is, like I said, you can add new tool. You can definitely add new tool. But you can, if you import default tools, Sorry, that shouldn't have happened. Okay, so as soon as you add that one, you can see we imported a few tools to get you started. And when we release this one, we're planning to add more, so that you people don't have to search for it. They can have something to get you started with. Now, I'm going to hide this. Just focus on this. So these are the tools. We have Brave Search, Fetch, File System, Git, GitHub, few here. And we will add more. And if you have anything that, you want us to add out of the box, let us know, and we'll be adding this. So what you can do here is, you can add your own tool here, and I'll see if I can demo you this. This video is already going to be long because I got lost to it. So, okay. So let's look at this file system here. This is an interesting one. I'm going to use this one to kind of show you how to with my file system here. Okay. So file system, if you click here, this is the default parameters. And you can set some default parameters, right? So, and the reason why you want to set default parameters is because, and this is where we differ from some other providers or other apps that kind of do this. I haven't seen anything that allows you to use tools from your local from your browser though. But when you use some of these tools, some tools need some parameters, some arguments. Like for an example, file system would need what folder you want to give it access to, or what folders you want to give it access to, right? Similarly to GitHub, it could be like what repositories, what API endpoint. Google Drive is the same thing. MySQL, for an example, might need a password, database name, host, and things like that, right? And then same thing with YouTube. It might need API key, SQLite, like where the file is. You can talk to your SQLite database, MySQL database. That's what it means for those of you who don't know. That's what these default parameters is. You can pass default parameters, but these tools doesn't have to be used like once, right? Meaning that maybe in one case you want to give, say, the file system the permission to use the directory to something like, I don't know, /home/user/ whatever your documents. And in another case, you want a different tool where that file system, now the same tool has different parameters, right? Here, for some cases, what it makes sense is to give them some default parameters. So when you create these variants of these tools, you can you have the base for it so that you don't have to override it again and again and again. But you can also override them if you want to. And I'll show you this in a little bit. I know it could be kind of confusing, but it will all start making sense here. So for an example, let's go to MySQL here, right? So maybe for MySQL one here, there is no argument here. But if you click on here, you start like, okay, it needs MySQL host, right? So if you add MySQL host, then now you can have like, okay, here is the host, whatever this is, right? IP address or something, right? You can click on this one. We just hide it by default just in case, but yeah, IP address or something like that. And then you're going to start adding more. Now it will show things that is only remaining. MySQL port, MySQL password, user, password, and all that. So maybe, let's say your port is, I kind of forgot, but maybe 3456 is the port, like default port. It's always going to be this port. So you can set the default parameters here, right? Maybe the MySQL user is always going to be root, let's say. And your password is not like your password is like, okay, no, my password differs, right? So then now you have apply. So now what you have done here is you have created the default parameters for MySQL. Okay. So when is this going to be useful? Now, where I want to say other application, but what other applications lets you like choose these tools? What we all have to do here is to create your own tool sets. So in tool sets, what happens is you go to toolset and now you start creating a combination of these tools, right? It doesn't have to be just one tool. You can create this tool set. If you know knowledge stacks in Msty app, this is very similar. So let's say in this case, we added MySQL, just an example. And then for whatever reason, we also need Google search for this tool set that we're creating. And you can add some tool set here. Maybe this is like search, my data is available on the internet or not. This is just note so that you understand, the context of these tools. We don't use this for anything else. Okay, this is like, let's say my SQL search, Google search, something like that. if I could type. Okay, so when you do that one, as you can see now, we have added a two new tool set. And you can click here and it shows you the node that you added so that you have the context. And then it shows like, okay, there are two tools available here, MySQL and Google Search. And you can, of course, add this one if you want to add more or whatever. So now let me add another one, right? Maybe this time it is MySQL only. This is my prod MySQL, right? And I added that. So now I added another tool set that only has that access. Now you will start seeing why the default parameters makes more sense. So remember that we added the port and then username. But here it is going to be different, right? Because this is something. This is has the product information or something like that one, and maybe this has like MySQL host to be 1 and 2. That let's show this one. 1 and 2.168.1.0, whatever it is. So, and my secret for this one, password is 1234, and then my database for this one is something different, right? Let's say products. Okay. So now you apply. So now see how you created a tool set with these tools, but each tool has different parameters. This is amazing. I'm telling you, you could probably kind of see from my face, pretty excited about this feature. I'm already using this a lot. Okay, you created that one. And similarly now, you go to this tool here, and then just give it a different set of parameters here. You can pass some arguments, and then more environment variables here. You can add your own tool. Like maybe you have this your own thing here. You can add that. So now you might be like, okay, where does these environment variables come from, right? Well, where these come from is from here. So if you go search for MySQL here, or not this one, MySQL here, there are two providers. Two people have written this one. One uses Node.js, another uses Python. That reminds me that when you go to the tools, the out-of-the-box one, we know what dependencies are needed. And Sidecar actually sends this information saying, oh yeah, you have Node.js install, you have npx install and all that. What happens if you don't have, if you're disconnected from here? Let me disconnect this here. And then if you go to the toolbox, you can see these are all red. Here's just saying, this dependency seems to be missing from environment without this, it's the Sidecar that is not connected, but you get the point, right? So if you didn't have Node.js, you will see this being in this red box. Okay, let me connect it again. Okay, so I'm connected now. You can also add your own tool. You can register your own tool. When you add a new tool, you can actually give your tool ID. Let me create one. Let me create something that is very similar to you, and I'll also show you how these placeholders will help you to sort of create the labels and things like that. Okay, so maybe this is like my own SQL. And you can select some icon here, maybe give it a shield here. And now you need the tool configuration, and this is where you can get that from here. Let me show you. Let's see, Node.js. Let's use this one. And you'll see that it looks very similar to this one here. And this is something that we probably can help. I cannot help you with debug and everything, but this is something that we can help. So this, when we say parameter configuration, is basically this is what we're talking about, right? So if you go here, we have given configuration here, so you have to provide. So you can copy paste this one here. Let's see what it looks like. So it needs to be a valid JSON file. So there is a command we are saying, okay, command. Oh, I thought that I was using npx, but this is UV. That's fine. So command here is UV arguments, all that. Here is a placeholder, and we will document this one. You're basically saying, okay, I need a database path, and this is please show database path. Let's add something. Please provide database path, and then we are giving this as a placeholder, path to database DB. And this is the environment variable. You are saying, okay, in the environment variable list that we showed you, please add this one. Let's add one more for fun here. MySQL custom. Let's call it MySQL custom, and you can give it a name. You're saying, okay, or let's say config path. I know there's something called config path in MySQL. It's been a while I have used MySQL, but okay, MySQL custom, that doesn't matter. Okay, so add some notes here. This is for connecting to my local MySQL or something like that. Doesn't matter. Let's say give it a neat tool name, my own SQL. Okay, so once you have added that, my own SQL here, since you added UV, it knows that you need Python and UV. We figured that out. You're welcome. Path here. If you go here, we are basically said here, hey, here is my argument here, right? Please provide path. And then we gave it example of what it should look like. And that's basically what it is. So if we go here, DB path, here you go, path to database DB. So, okay. And then if you go to the environment variable, it looks very similar, but as you can see, we also have that MySQL custom. So you can set that as custom variable here. So I hope you got the point. And there are many here. Brave certs. Let's see what Brave certs needs. Environment variable. You always want to, okay, it needs Brave API key. We added that for you. All in that. And you can expect, we will have like maybe about 50 to 100, 200 tools here, so that you don't have to go in and add that individually. We cannot add all of them. It's going to be impossible to add all of them. Now we have created tool set. Let me delete this one. Let me now show you like a real example. Let's use this one. It's fun. I like it. All right. So what I'm going to do demo here is like, I'm going to create, I'm on a Mac. So I want to get the information about my Mac, right? So I'm going to create here Mac OS info, and then let's say I want to do file system, and this is like Mac OS and file system. And then this is like, okay, Mac OS file system tool. What we'll use. So add there. So I created this one, and just to show you, what it looks like when you select multiple ones here. Let me say I just want to create a Mac OS only here. And we're just calling it Mac OS. All right. And if you're like, what the hell is this Mac OS? Then you probably want to go here somewhere, and then it should show you what that means. There's so many of them, I don't even know where they are anymore. Doesn't matter. So we don't have two tools. We have two tool sets. That's very important to remember. You have two tools and one tool, and you can select multiple one of these, and then you can, you can reorder this one. So if remember how you have Mac OS here and then Mac OS file system tool here, like when you are selecting, which one do you want to give preference to? So this is where you can reorder this. So we have taken care of these small things, because you might have different file system, different database that you want to talk to, you don't need to be just have one tool sets, create multiple. Don't worry about live context. I will come to that later. Okay. So now I have added those tools. Let me go ahead and then add that. So what I'm going to do here is go to toolset and select toolsets. Right now, I'm just going to use Mac OS for now, just to interact with my Mac OS and see, what kind of information I can get here. And then for the model, I want to choose Gemini 2.0 Flash. This is because, like I mentioned before, local models are not very good at this. So once I have that, let me ask, tell me about my CPU. Okay. All right. Apple M3 Max with 16 cores. That's it, right? How about my disk? Okay, this is what I found. Perfect. All right, this is really coming from tools, because I can kind of see the logs here for the sidecar here on the side. Okay, that's awesome. So now I have that, and now I can go ahead and then use more tools. Now I could use this macOS and then macOS FS tool, but there is one thing that I'm missing here, which I need to configure. So let me go to tool sets here. So macOS FS tool. If I go here, file system, of course, needs this first, like what directory you want this tool to access. You need to set that path here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use our documentation folder for interacting with it. Okay, so that would be let me go to the docs. All right, there you go. And then let me go to, let me also bring this on the side here so that you can also see for those who are not comfortable with the terminal. Okay, content here. And then, okay, let me hide this first. I don't want to show you my everything here. Okay, so this is where I want to be. And so let me go here, cd content. There you go. All right, so as you can see, I don't have, I have 3 folders, or you can see it here, 3 folders and 1 file, right? And let me add this path here, pwd here. All right, so I've added that. I don't need to have any environment variable. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I just need the allowed directories. You can pass multiple ones here. Okay, so now I have that. Let's update that and let's try to use it. Let's try to use it in a different new conversation here. Let me hide this. Okay, so now I go to this tool here. Let me refresh this, just making sure. Let me say this is the default one. Again, local models are not good at tools. Sad, but true. Okay, so you go here and then select macOS. You can change the order of this if you want, from the toolbox, toolsets view UI. But here I'm selecting this one. Remember, this has both access to both macOS tool and then FS tool. You can also manage toolsets from here, by the way. Okay, you can click here and then verify that, okay, I have these two things selected. Now that I have this one, all right, let's see how well this does. Let's ask what files it can see. What files and folders can you see? Ooh, nice. Let's see. Let's verify that, right? So it can see that directory. Okay. What files and directories are in there? Let's see. Getting started, features, how-to guides, troubleshooting, index.md. There you go. There is a DS sister file. Let's see if we can create a file here. Can you, or director, can you create a foobar directory? Let's do demo. Demo folder for me in there. And this is not how you would probably interact with this thing, right? You can just create it here, but you can imagine in complex scenario when it needs to call tools and all that, it can call that. Okay. All right. So as you can see, there is a demo thing in here, right? And let's go to the folder and let's say, okay, there you go. There is a demo. Now, let me ask about my CPU. Tell me about my CPU and disk. Okay, for some reason that it didn't return anything. Just let me ask, just tell me about my CPU. Oh, sorry, I forgot to select the tools here. Tool sets, I mean. Okay. Let's make sure that we have context still here so that we know that it's not returning the ones from above there. Tell me about my CPU. Okay, now let's ask about my disk. Well, let's ask it to write that information to a folder named cpu.txt, right? Can you write my CPU information to a file named cpu.txt? Write it in the root directory. It's asking, where should I write it? Let's see what it does. Okay, so it's saying, okay, well, I don't have access, blah, 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 blah. So let's ask it, write it on the demo, right? Put it under demo folder. Let's see if it can do that. It doesn't know about that one. Let's ask it what folders can you see? All right. Okay, now it's just like, oh, I'll create it. I'm gonna blah blah blah. So let's see if so there's a cpu.txt it created. Let's check what it put in the cpu.txt. cpu.txt. There you go. It created that. This video is already getting too long. So just to summarize, you have feature called what we're calling toolbox, where you can create your own tools and tool sets. You can combine these tools. You can set parameters, default parameters, and then you can start creating your own tool sets with a collection of these tools. And then you can add your own tool here. Just to show you a demo by creating this my own SQL tool. And then you need Sidecar here to interact with this. Basically what Sidecar is doing is Sidecar is running these tools, right, on your machine. And it shows you the dependencies. You do need to have these dependencies. We don't need NPX, you just need Python and Python 3. But you should know that these are the tools that's needed. And if you're a developer, you already know this. If you are not, you do have to find a way to install these. And there are, thousands of resources how to install these. And then you create tool sets here by basically adding your tools in here. And then overwriting the parameters. That's it for tools. I do have this live context, which I want to show you in the next video. That's going to be a very small video. It's a pretty quick video, but this is one of the longest videos that I've created because tools is pretty complex, and I wanted to show you everything. Now keep in mind, this is Msty Studio. This is web accessible Msty. This is not a Msty app. This is a completely different app. This runs on mobile. However, the data is still saved locally on your device. It is still local to browser. It is still local to your machine. So keep that in mind. If you haven't watched my previous videos, I highly recommend watching those videos, especially the first one where I covered the data privacy and how we save the data. And then the last one about Sidecar. Definitely watch that as well, if nothing else. All right. So I have few more complex, big features to show you. And I'll do that tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.